Hey.
What's going on?
I got a few things I got to talk to you about.
Okay.
Sort of stresses me out all at the same time, but I think it's very important for the show.
Okay.
Because if we're going to do something that's going to be very real, I want people to know that this is real. I'm going to put down the person's name.
Okay.
I don't know how the spelling is, but to me, he's a little bit Spanish. And I felt that like immediately, but it didn't make any sense to me. I think he owned more than this theater that we're going into. That was the other thing that I really didn't quite get. He hated the poor. He was evil. People hate him so much, including some people in the general public. And that's when I feel a murder or a loss or he's gone. And I don't, and then it goes away. But
His
there was
murder?
His murder or a murder. I still think he haunts this place. People just don't pay attention to it. But he hurts people. He'll push people. He'll make people feel uncomfortable. He'll squeeze them tight. He'll cover their mouth and their like this so that they can't breathe, and to make sure that he's warning them some kind of frightening, like suffocating them if they talk. And that's what I feel about this man.
This week on Knock Knock Ghost, we are at the Grand Theatre in London, Ontario, where Ambrose Small is still reported to occupy his favorite box. What are you doing?
I'm enjoying the show.
No, you have to go unload the car. We've got stuff to do.
Isn't that the pack mule's job?
You're the pack mule. Brian the pack mule Doyle. Now go, read your contract.
Oh.
Oh my God. I'm not going to survive this. I hope a ghost kills me. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to interview some of the staff members and actors who've worked here at the Grand Theatre in London, Ontario over the years, and then our resident psychic, Jim Hunt, is going to go on a private tour to get his initial feelings on the space.
Richard, you can't believe the stuff that's going on just in this theater alone.
That's great, Jim. Do you want to save it for the show?
But just give me one more chance.
Then we're going ghost hunting.
I said zip it! Stupid Richard. Oh my God! Oh.
What am I expecting at the Grand Theatre tonight? Grand things, that's what I'm expecting. It's theater, it's theatrical. I don't think anyone who works in the theater ever does anything by half measures.
I'm expecting to myself, quite frankly.
Most of the entities can grab some of their energy and have the strength to keep their ghost profile long after everybody's gone so that they can be seen with our cameras.
I'm probably going to run screaming from it at some point. That's really what I'm expecting.
It's the theater. All right, we're at the Grand Theatre here in London, Ontario, and I'm with Cara James, the Public Relations Manager of the theatre. Hello, Cara.
Hello, Richard.
So, public relations.
Yes.
You have stories.
Oh, do I have stories? That's part of my job.
Now, you've been here just over a year, almost 2 years.
Yes, about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. And did you know the stories before you came?
Oh, I did. I grew up in London, and let me
right.
tell you, the Grand Theatre's been here since 1901, and in that time, it has amassed quite a reputation as being a haunted place.
So you'd be hard-pressed to throw a stone and not hit someone who knows something.
That's absolutely true.
All right, so we're going to do a little walk around. We're going to talk about the main ghost, Mr. Ambrose Price.
Ambrose Small.
Small.
He is
Ambrose
so
Price is
well
from
known.
Hello, Dolly. What the hell is my problem?
You're thinking theater.
I want to be a star, Cara. That's what it is.
You
All
will
right,
be.
but it's all about you and your stories. So shall we enter the theater?
We shall.
All right, let's do it. I'm already scared. Ooh, so the magic box.
This was Ambrose Small's box.
Okay.
So this is where he always sat when he came to watch the shows. This was his favorite. And you know, they say that the London Theatre was also his favorite.
Okay, so this is a man who owned a couple of theaters in Ontario. They weren't legitimate theaters per se, what we would call a legitimate theater today.
Well, it's funny, the theatre in Toronto and in London were both called the Grand Opera House, but they weren't doing opera. So, I would say
no one ever does.
leaning towards a bit of a burlesque edge, which was kind of in fashion at that time.
Yes.
And it made a lot of money.
Of course it did.
And Ambrose was into making a lot of money.
Ankles were huge.
Yeah. But he loved
We call them cankles now, but we're not judging.
But he loved money, and he was a very astute businessman, so he knew what he was doing. In 1919, for whatever reason, he decided to sell them all.
Just like that.
Just like that.
At the height of his success.
Which is kind of strange. I mean, he didn't have money problems. It could be there was, maybe after the First World War, maybe people were a little more morally sound and they didn't want to see ankles anymore. Who knows? So he made a deal with a business company out of Montreal. And what they say was the profit he made was just under $2 million, which would have been in 1919, which would have been a heck of a lot of money. Yeah. So he sold them all. He met with the business partners on December the 2nd, signed the deals.
Here in London or in Toronto?
In Toronto.
Okay.
They toasted their years of service together. He walked off into the night, and he was never seen again.
Never seen.
Never seen again.
A worker here claims to have seen him.
That's
possibly.
Correct. Now, as you can imagine, in those days, everybody wants to be in the news.
Sure.
Similar to now. So everyone said, I saw him here. It was like Elvis, Most of those were sort of, dismissed. But there was a worker here that said that he swears he saw Ambrose just about an hour after he had his business meeting in Toronto. Impossible.
Impossible.
Completely impossible in those times. So that's when the ghost rumor started. Now, they investigated this for years. It was the biggest unsolved mystery in the history of Canada. They didn't.
It's still not solved. No one knows.
It's not solved, but they didn't close the case officially until 1960.
And you said Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was involved?
That's correct. So it got international press, because this is a millionaire.
Yeah.
Not a dime of any of his holdings or any of his bank accounts was ever touched. None of his personal effects.
No suspicious financial activity?
The only thing that was a suspicion that kept coming up over and over again was his wife. Now, Teresa Small died in 1935, so unfortunately we can't ask her.
No.
And they had no children. But the suspicion is that she had a hand in his death, brought his body to London, and burned him in the boiler.
And got rid of the evidence.
He liked the young. He liked the ingenues.
That's odd. That's rare. No one's ever off after the ingenue.
He liked the promise, that used the promise of fame and fortune and chocolate. Chocolates were delicacy
back then, yes.
There's even a rumor that the Grand Opera House in Toronto had a secret soundproof velvet-lined room that nobody knew about but him. Oh, and the ingenue that happened to share his company that evening. So that's rumor. We don't know.
I think it would be a good idea to try and lure Ambrose out with an ingenue.
Well, I have to say, we have a lot of actresses come in and out of the stores.
No, I'm thinking Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, why risk somebody who works here?
Well, the stories that we hear from the young, beautiful actresses that come through these walls, they're always about Ambrose. He does like the ladies.
Interesting.
We have Ambrose sitting straight up there. So when we were filming earlier, that is exactly where Brian was sitting, and he was thrashing him, which is Ambrose. So it's not a very good thing.
I'm not bothered by theaters, and every theater I've ever been in, whether it's a new building or an old building or a reclaimed building, everyone talks about a ghost. Oh, there's a ghost here, there's a ghost there. But I have never, ever, and I don't like being alone in an abandoned building. I've never seen anything in any theater I've ever been in. So for me, theaters don't give me any angst.
Having a background in theater makes me more liable to have a more dramatic reaction to something that's probably not necessarily as big as I might necessarily think it is, just because literally everything scares me. If that hasn't come across already, everything scares me.
Ever since I heard about the phenomenon of ghosts, spirits, hauntings, scared the crap out of me. Of course, there's the initial thing, can they see me in the shower? Can they see me when I'm spanking it? Are these family members that are haunting me and all this? It freaks me out, but this is the thing. I want to believe it. I don't want to be scared, but I want something to happen and for me to go, there it is. There's a ghost. I believe.
I was at home and I was watching the Montel Williams show. And he had this famous psychic on his show. And there was this woman there that owned a salon, like a tanning salon. She was like, this lady, whenever she's in my salon with me, everything electrical goes haywire, the beds will turn themselves off and on, TVs will go nuts, like anything electrical just goes absolutely haywire and works of their own accord, and I don't know what to do. And Sylvia Brown starts to say, well, electricity is one of the main forms that spirits from the other side have as a means of connecting with our world and saying hello. Usually they try and do it with anything electrical because that's the big source of energy, and it's one of the best ways for them to kind of make contact. And in the middle of all of this happening and Sylvia Brown starting to talk, my TV promptly shut itself off. So I decided I didn't need to watch TV anymore, and I went upstairs and I cried.
All right, Cara, we're coming into the theater proper itself. So beautiful. Look at that. And Ambrose, who'd sit in that box over there, had a penchant for the ingenues.
Oh, yes.
With the ankles.
Yes.
Any good stories?
Oh, there's one that comes up over and over again. Decades ago.
Okay.
There was an actress performing on the main stage right below us there,
right.
and her costume was a beautiful red dress.
All right.
So she's in the dressing room getting ready to go on, making sure her hair is perfect, her makeup is perfect, running her lines, and making sure that red dress looks perfect. She notices a little tickle at her ankle.
Okay, so house cat?
Well, who knows?
Cucarachas?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
But she looks down and the hem of the red dress started to lift all by itself.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
Oh no, I'm imagining it now.
So she's all alone in the dressing room, there's nobody there, and the dress is mysteriously lifting further and further up her thigh.
And it's opening night. She has to go on stage after this experience.
And I'm sure she did. She's a professional, you know.
Starving actress. She needed the paycheck.
That's right.
As odd as you would think a ghost presence would make one feel, none of these people seemed bothered by it, even if they had a scary moment.
All right, so I am here with Tim Whitty, the Grand Theatre's building manager. How are you, Tim?
Good.
And you've worked here since the 70s?
I first worked in here in 1975 as a stagehand.
Oh, wow.
Setting up
So you've
shows.
seen it all, you've heard it all.
I've known a lot of people who've gone through this building, yes.
What's your ghost story?
One of the old ones I had was from the old stagehands back in the day. They were getting rid of a set one night on stage. They found somebody sitting in the front row. From the stage, they were yelling at them to tell them to get out of the building because they were leaving. One went up one staircase, one went up the other staircase. The seat was down, but they couldn't find anybody. They both looked at each other and said, no, there was somebody there, right?
Right.
You saw him, I saw him. Where'd he go?
I find it a little interesting and really creepy that all of these people have the exact same stories about the exact same ghost and the exact same thing happening, and none of them know each other. Because, like, obviously something is legitimately happening to make all of these people say the exact same thing, or else how would they know? It's very creepy.
Okay, Tim, so now we are in the wardrobe room at the Grand Theatre here in London, Ontario, and this is where the Lady in White story happened.
The Lady in White's been around our building for years. She walks through the whole building. They used to see her up on the 5th floor, but our IT person came down to the 4th floor, opened up the elevator just outside this door, caught the back end of the Lady in White walking into this room, thought, well, I need to talk to these people. Walked into this room, heard voices on the other room just across the hall, went and said, where'd that lady go? And the wardrobe people who have always seen her said, what was she wearing? Was wearing a white dress. I said, well, then you saw the ghost, the Lady in White. She went, no. She's in that room somewhere, isn't she? So as you come into this room, you can have a look around. There's one door in.
There's nowhere else out to
One
go.
door out. Kate went white.
There was a school in a small city. It was my first year there. And I had walked into a classroom and I felt very uncomfortable in my surroundings and I was very cold. The person felt panicked and wanted to contact his family, and there was nothing that I can do because I didn't know. The janitor or the caretaker of that school had had a heart attack about 3 weeks prior to that and had passed away in that room. So right away, I get this energy here. So I get the smell of cigars, alcohol, a lot of women's laughter. And I heard that hot stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So someone is hasn't moved and sat here nonstop. But this person, whoever's here, is very important. So this will be a hot spot late at night. But he had ample view of seeing this kid here. So that's very interesting from here. Oh, my ears are ringing. I still smell fire. I really wish I knew about a fire in here. Wow. So I have spirits in the back of me right here, and they're asking me to leave. And we have Ambrose sitting straight up there. So when we were filming earlier, that is exactly where Brian was sitting, and he was thrashing him, which is Ambrose. So it's not a very good thing. We should go up, second floor. As I was in the main floor of the London Theatre, I was feeling a very strong sense of calling to move up towards the second floor, but to approach with caution. I looked to my left and I watched a dark shadow move away and right through the wall. And immediately I knew that that was someone that was not very pleasant, someone who had controlled people in that room, someone who had held them at against their will, and it wasn't a very pleasant time to be in there. See, and now I smell cigars.
Right in there.
Ah, nice. Oh yeah, definitely, eh?
So that used to be a dressing room?
But someone was strangled or choked in here. Someone was choked here, right here. Holy cow. We'll talk about this. This is, I'm losing my breath, so this is like, something's going on right here. She wants to go home. Okay, that's not fair. Man, that room is bad, eh? That room is really, really bad.
Yeah, I feel it.
Like, holy crap. So I'm being laughed at right now. There's a lot of activity in there. Like a lot of activity right there. See, so right now I'm being pushed away not to go in there. I'm not allowed to go in. That is so weird. Whoa. Feel it getting colder? Oh, wow. I need to know where they counted the money. Throughout the whole theater, it was all about money. It was unbelievable. The person that was in there controlled money, loved money, lived for money, and in my opinion, has died for money, but I have to figure all of that out. He was in such control. This guy was so mean. Ambrose, can I have some money, please? I'm broke. I need some money. I need to pay my rent. Come on, Ambrose. I know you didn't like knocking on your door. He did not like not knocking on that door at all. Holy crap. He's a pig. It's not what everybody thought he was. I had felt the presence of Ambrose that I had defined at that point. That was that person's name. And realized that he was a sexual deviant in so many horrible ways. He controlled many of the actresses at that point. If they wanted to continue working there or being employed there, especially during a time when some people didn't have a lot of money, he used that as his gratification. There were so many women's spirits that were in there. As I was walking through, they were walking right through me saying, keep him away from me.
So Jim picked up on this Ambrose ghost before he even was inside the theater or talked to anybody at the theater. Just on his own, he picked up on this ghost. And he picked up on his nature to sexually harass like the ingenues and like the young actresses and stuff that worked there underneath him. And that in itself is pretty creepy. It's not really surprising.
When Jim started talking about Ambrose's proclivities and his opinions or how he viewed the lower classes, as a person in 2015, you're like, well, who's that ignorant? It's a good thing he's dead. But you throw yourself back to that time and he would have been more of the norm. Certainly out of people with money, he would have been one of the people who was parroting the common thoughts anyway. But it really makes you realize that you're in a different time and place.
It's interesting because I pick up like 3 men in this room alone, by themselves. And they stay there. It's like they had a pact that after one passed away, they would always keep in touch with each other or pour themselves a drink until each, on their anniversaries of their passing. Very cool. Someone to see, that's nice for me. Now, is this the old part?
That you have to ask him.
Okay.
But we're going down into the production department.
Oh, cool.
Which is on top of the theater.
Nice.
So when there's a show on, particularly a musical, you can really hear it when they're on stage.
When they're on stage.
And you're in this part.
What were they preventing from collapsing?
The bulldozer was just about to knock down, as story tells it, a stone that was a lodestone for the proscenium to the theater, which is quite beautiful. It's quite ornate, and really it's the true hallmark of a theater of any distinct age. To have lost something like that would have been a real shame, and what was interesting was mysteriously the bulldozer absolutely would not go another inch or move another millimeter, and they found out it was seconds away from knocking down this key support for this priceless and irreplaceable proscenium arch. So I would think that if anyone was going to stop a bulldozer from knocking down their building, it would be the person who owned it.
Okay, because they're just saying that it's not finished yet.
Okay, well there's been things that make sense in what you're saying.
But they're yelling at me. They don't yell at you. They're yelling at me to say,
finished.
It's not finished. Get it finished. Hurry up and get this finished because it's going to be more damaging than you can imagine. I just wish everyone can hear the voices. You get just.
What do they say?
It's like I'm in a shopping mall. Everyone's talking. It's like this. I've never felt something this busy before, and I've been to many theaters in Toronto. Nothing's as interesting as this. It's so cool. Can you do a little bit of a knock on the door?
Ambrose? Richard!
Fred! Sweetie, I don't want you tripping. Oh,
Richard!
stop horsing around. We got work to do.
I never get to have any fun. My heart is racing a mile a minute. I'm just the most terrified that Ambrose is all of a sudden going to appear in front of me and say hello, and then I'm going to have to burn the house down. That's just what's going to have to happen.
As soon as I looked up onto a stage, I can see Ambrose for a quick second and then just flash and go away. Curtains moved for me. Lights were dimming here and there. I was feeling a lot of electricity in the room.
It always makes me nervous to do the ghost walk initially. Fear of the unknown. Not fear, it's just you're afraid of what could be there.
I'm completely terrified, like I'm going to myself. Am I allowed to say that?
Please don't, though.
Once we were in the theater, not like, I mean, I even remember walking up to the building. It was cool outside and I was enjoying the air. And then we got inside and I just started to feel dour. Stuff was pissing me off. A change came over me as I went into the theater that night, which is ironic or odd because it wasn't there during the day.
Hi, is there anybody in the room with us? Could we talk?
We come in peace.
Can you do a little bit of a knock on the door?
Please don't do a knock on the door.
Hi.
It's full. The memory's full. What? Yeah. This camera won't record anything. It says its memory's full. We just started.
That happens all the time.
We just started, so this...
The equipment stops working.
Already this camera's not happy with us.
Want me to go and grab a 32 gig?
No, just delete what's on there. We don't.
It's the
It's
ghost.
nothing. It was empty when we started. It was weird because the camera was working fine. We were talking about Jim was feeling a presence coming down the stairs and by us. And as I put the camera up towards where that presence was and followed the route Jim was showing us, it stopped and it would not come back on. And full battery. We turned it off, turned it back on. It came back on and never turned off again. But that one specific thing, and I mean, whatever Jim was seeing, and it was there was some energy, like emotional energy attached to what Jim was seeing. So I'm not sure if that affected the electronics of the camera. Nothing else was affected. Just me. And Kara, that happens a lot?
A lot that happens.
All right, so people will often be here with a camera and they can't take a picture.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that are doing what you're doing.
All right.
And whenever they come in, for some reason or other, the equipment doesn't work.
Wow.
So that is not unusual at all.
Okay.
Wow, that is really creepy. Did I mention it was going to myself?
I'm not
Because
surprised.
that's probably actually going to happen.
There's a woman that walks up and down constantly and then comes back, wants to go in, goes right through the door, then frantically comes back out and starts to run up the stairs. She's been doing it 3 times now.
I don't know what that is.
Who?
So, yeah, I know. It's her. It's like repeated.
That was freaky.
What? Did you feel it?
Like a rush of air went at my neck. It's not just an all-encompassing cold because the room is cold. Like a rush of cold air hit my neck.
Do we have air vents down here for the air conditioning?
We should.
Something's running, so...
It would just be the heat.
No, but it wasn't.
I felt it.
It's not just.
I felt it. It just went
It's
right
not
by
just like cold air coming out of a vent. It's like someone standing behind me blowing cold air on my neck.
And they'll go in and out of people, and some people might get cold bursts around them and feel their shivers. And it isn't the air conditioning. It is the actual ghost walking right through them.
So the stories are that they found graves when they dug out.
It's clean.
But, I mean, that's the story.
What's the story?
That they found graves when they dug out from the church across the street.
They found graves here where we're standing.
Do you need help, Simon? No.
They. Hold on, let me get this gay. So we are standing on an ancient burial ground right now. That's what you're telling me.
That's what I was told.
We're standing in an ancient burial ground right now.
I wouldn't say ancient, but yes.
You have to remember, Brian thinks last week is ancient.
The spirit box, it goes through 150 channels in a few seconds, and you can get actual sentences from the same voice, the same type of connection. You won't get a high-pitched voice or a low-pitched voice. It'll be consistent.
Who's beside me? Who's Beth? Do you mind if we're here with you?
Did she just say no?
She said, I don't.
Oh, okay, that's much better then.
Are we okay right now? Sometimes I see this man around Brian.
Excuse me? Who is this person?
It's a man with an extremely big mustache.
And why is he around me exactly?
I think it's all due to your fear.
He likes my fear?
Yes. Because he liked to control younger people that work for him.
So he's thriving off of my fear right now.
Yeah.
So that means he probably will actually end up showing himself to me. Holy
Eventually.
Eventually?
He has to.
What do you mean he has to?
I've asked him to.
You've asked him to show himself to me.
Well, absolutely, because we need to show that he's been here. He's here to protect this theater, and he's here to control the people that are in this theater.
I don't know if I'm ready for something to show itself to me.
The only time I'd be afraid of a ghost exposing himself is if he's wearing a trench coat.
This is where a majority of the energy comes from. And then walking this way, like I have somebody right here in front of me. Can you knock? Can you let us know that you're here, please? Can you give us a little bang, a little knock on the wall?
Woo! What the was that? What the was that?
I don't know, but it's so much activity here right now. It's crazy, guys.
There was a very distinct. Did anybody else feel and hear that?
Yes.
Something like shook and went boom, like underneath here. Is there anybody that could have made that down there somewhere?
If I go to look to the second level, I've watched an orb go from one end of the stage and come right across here into the balcony where you were sitting, Brian. And the person that sits there looks and stares constantly at me, wondering why I'm here. Then the theater part where it's closed on the 5th floor, there's people just watching us, 3 men to my left, which are unbelievable.
Do you see anything in that top corner where like the glasses where the person sits in behind that controls?
Well,
like,
that's what I'm talking about. There's 3 men there.
Because I feel like I can see something
I can't see into it because I'm getting a reflection from something.
in the corner. It looks like something white in the very corner, and I'm not sure if it's moving or not. It's very creepy. It's creeping me out, and I can't stop looking at that area.
The board is there. I can see the board.
Beyond that is what I'm seeing.
Did it just light up?
Do you notice that light blinks faster and faster every time we're...
What light?
The green light that's at the top.
At the very top. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just a few minutes ago, I was looking up at the very top of the stage where all the lights were, and I just saw a head, I didn't see a whole body, but I just saw a head move, and I've only seen a head shots everywhere in the theater, but nothing else.
So I just wanted to let you know that that was something that was very interesting. Just
Why
they
just
don't.
his head?
Some people don't show their whole bodies. They don't. But it was very, very prevalent that he was doing that.
Last year during the holiday show, we did Elf, and it had a lot of kids in the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kids, Justin, decided that he wanted to take some pictures during media call, so I let him.
Yep.
And he had a really nice camera. And he came and took pictures all of the theater. He thought it was so pretty, and he took a picture of Ambrose's box. And then later he came back to me and said, "Car, I got to show you this picture." And you can see the box, and underneath it you see a head, a face. It's so distinct, but it's got this. It's like whoosh, rushing
Nice.
with this
That's
big
amazing.
wave of light behind it. And I saw him take the picture, and I was right there. There was no magic tricks or anything. It appeared out of nowhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Hi, who's here with us? I'm going to walk towards the stage here. Can you let me know who you are? Who's here? I don't know who you are. Who keeps touching me on my shoulder, please?
Oh, not this again. Fabulous.
Who? I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to talk. Have you got something to say? Who's with me right now? I missed that. Can you explain that again?
The light is changing colors now.
Just have to move a little bit here. I'm just going to stand where this person is standing right now. Who's here with me right here? Come on. Don't be afraid. This is the theater. You want to show off. Well, I can see.
Like it's solid.
Yep.
Like I'm standing right here. It's like completely solid.
Who's in here with us?
Sometimes it gets brighter.
I'm always scared. This is the thing about me. I am constantly afraid. If a room's too dark, I need a light on in there. My electricity bill is too expensive. I have to have the lights on all the time. For me, the more intriguing thing is that proof. I'm realizing now that as bad as anything could be in my mind, it's never going to be that bad in reality, and we have Jim there. He's little. I can push him ahead and run.
I knew that there was some form of sexual harassment going on. I please understand, I do get that happens everywhere, but this was not talked about.
I thought the best way to get Ambrose out and about and in his frisky self was to give him some bait, and, well, the closest thing we had to a real girl was Brian. All right, Jim, we're going into Ambrose's office.
Yes, we are.
What are you doing?
Oh my God! Don't know what I'm doing. I'm having an injury.
That's
I'm trying to bait him.
You're gonna piss off a ghost in that outfit.
Oh, you're telling me that light is flashing non-stop. Okay.
What are you doing in there?
I don't know. Temporary insanity. I'm being sent into this room dressed as this young country girl in this tiny room where Ambrose's presence is really strong. I'm extremely terrified and uncomfortable with this. Not because I have any aversions to being dressed up. I'm really afraid that he's really going to like it and appear in front of me and do whatever he wants. It's really, really concerning me. Quite a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ.
How are you feeling now?
Oh, like my heart is racing a mile a minute. When I was in there by myself, it went solid blue.
Beautiful.
Solid.
Nice.
Like unblinking.
We have multiple EMF meters. They have a little blue light above them with a copper antenna. And what they do is they pick up electronic energy that will just travel by very quickly, because spirits move throughout any building, any place at all. If you touch them, and they'll turn blue automatically because we're touching them, we give off that energy. It's really neat. But place them by themselves, they can light up on their own without a problem, and that means that there is an actual spirit there. So let's go back in. I'll go back in with you.
Oh, Jesus.
This is Ambrose's office.
This is Ambrose's office. This is where
Right behind his box.
Yes. Wow. It's really on.
Like non-stop.
So we have an entity in here. I'm going to move over a little bit so that I can see.
Like it's solid.
Yep.
Like I'm standing right here. It's like completely solid.
Who's in here with us?
Sometimes it gets brighter. What did it just say? The angel devil. What does that mean?
I don't know. Just
Yeah.
The angel devil?
Yeah, I just said the angel devil.
The red sash that you're wearing is from a devil costume.
cool.
Oh my god, it's talking about me.
Angel devil.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I cannot believe this. I am clearly the angel he is talking about, and I'm standing here in this god-awful red devil cape, and I'm just, oh my god, I can't. I literally can't. I just can't. I've lost my ability to can. It's gone. Bye-bye. Never to be seen again. I'm like, ugh.
Who's there?
Is there somebody standing there?
Yeah.
Where? Right in the archway.
No. If you walk towards that dressing room, the light will turn bluer and bluer and bluer.
What? Don't push you. I'm not pushing you.
Maybe you're pushing him a little.
I can see and can't see something there all at once. It's very weird. It's the weirdest experience.
Lift it up.
Lift it up?
Yeah.
Lift what up?
Your skirt.
Lift my skirt up? I don't know if I want to lift my skirt up. Will it be angry at me if I don't? They just told me to lift my skirt up. Maybe it's me.
Hi. Here we are.
Holy crap! Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go to your office very shortly.
Holy
Say hi. Who's with us?
something just touched me. Did you just touch me?
No, I'm a... What are you saying? You're taking your time now. You're really excited about this. Where am I taking you? Thank you.
Oh.
Ambrose, do you like us?
Oh.
Just turn on one time. Let us know if you like us, please.
The thing behind you is flashing
Thank you.
like mad. But just lit up out of nowhere. Is that because of you?
Well, I just asked if they liked us. Do you like us? Just flash on one time for us. Let us know if you like us. The far right.
Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just like my wardrobe hitting my back or if it's actually something making it hit my back.
Can you repeat what you just said? Do you feel like anybody's very pretty in this room? Who are you? Can we go to your office now? I know you're trying to talk. Please talk through the box. Because I'm not afraid of you and we can talk. But you love this room. There's another escape, isn't there?
I cannot believe that I'm still standing here dressed as bait for this godforsaken ghost.
You know, of course, Brian was incredibly upset and hurt to be used as bait, but I said to him, really, you're in your 30s. How many more years of being bait do you have?
He's right around.
Ambrose, can you make that light turn?
Ooh, I just felt something on my leg.
Was it your skirt?
No, my skirt is like here, and it was like by my knee. Ooh, okay, that's going like mad.
Because he's happy because you saw your skirt.
Oh.
Is that not? Do that again and watch.
My skirt? Am I provoking him by doing that?
Yes, you are.
I'm dressed in this stupid country girl outfit, and every time I raised the skirt, which was already decidedly short, anytime I would raise it up and show a little bit more of my thigh, this light would light up and get brighter and brighter and brighter anytime I would like essentially flash the guy. And like, so creepy. So creepy, stop it.
It was the spirit giving notification that he was enjoying what was happening. There were no qualms about it. There was a very strong presence of a spirit that was extremely perverted.
I don't know why, but he would constantly lift up his skirt hem, and every time he did, one of those little blue lights would go off, which surprised me because his legs aren't that good.
I've been dressed up as bait. I've been standing here with cookies, not being allowed to eat them. Ugh, it's just been terrible. And that stupid blue light, he would like get excited when I was flashing him my legs, and he's still not showing us much of anything other than showing us that he's there. So I'm just going to dress up as Ambrose and make him come to us, because enough is enough. It's time to show yourself. Ambrose don't go to me, I'll go to Ambrose. Maybe this wasn't the best idea I've ever had. I really hope this isn't a bad idea.
Hello, Ambrose.
Hi, Ambrose.
Can you see your double right in front of us? This is a beautiful way to watch theater.
It's solid. Right behind me.
Ambrose, do you know what we're doing here? We've come here to enjoy your theater.
Is the spirit box on somewhere?
I have it on here. No, it isn't. I have it here.
Because I swear I could hear like a spirit box, like that staticky like noise.
I'd like to hear what this will do here. Can you tell me the name of the person that takes care of this place? I know I've seen him, but what's his name? Are you right beside us? Do you want to say goodnight to us?
I just called Richard's name.
Yeah. And me. Who else is here with us? Can you tell us who the caretaker is, please?
Did it just say what?
Yeah. It did. Okay, we're gonna say goodbye to you now.
Goodbye.
We want to thank you for letting us come here to see you. We're gonna leave you now.
Good. I just said good.
I know. We'll let you take over your home.
Okay. Don't do it?
Yeah, don't do it. Okay, we're gonna leave now. Said good. Still. Get out.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Yep. Okay, we can get out.
I don't know how long we'd been in there, but I'd had enough. The team wanted to go up to the catwalks, and quite frankly, you know, I have an issue with heights at the best of times, and I wasn't feeling great, and this whole experience was starting to bum me out. But the minute I got to the lobby, you know, that feeling started to dissipate, and the closer I got to the front door, the better I felt.
At the very end of our investigation, I had noticed Richard had changed completely. I was concerned for his well-being, for his demeanor, the way his personality had changed to a way that many people have never seen him like that before. He had a mood swing. There was something that blew me away. I wasn't prepared for it either, and I don't think anybody else was. And once things were done, and he did not want to perform the last part of it because he was being thrown off or pestered by something that was actually trying to control him. I was hoping that once everything was said and done, that I can actually smudge him to make sure that he can get a restful night.
Well, it is now 25 after 3 in the morning here at the Grand Theatre in London, Ontario, and I can report I'm too fat to go on the catwalk. And I have the most defective camera in the world, or what they say is true, ghosts like playing with electronics here. And at best, Jim Hunt had a one-sided conversation with everybody in this theater. What do you think, Jim?
I think it was very busy for me.
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of different anomalies. The EMS lights, blue ones, they went off everywhere for me and scared the crap out of, what's that man that works with us? Brian.
Brian, well, Brian's scared of his own shadow,
He
let's
is,
just say
he
it.
is, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
And different smells, the smell of coal, the smell of...
Why?
Well, if he wasn't going to show up, I figure I might as well show up for him.
Oh my God.
I brought cookies.
I'm gonna toss my cookies.
I know.
No? Does anybody want a cookie? Ambrose, do you want a cookie? Wait a second, don't answer that question. Is it you, Ambrose?
Charlie Chaplin.